Shalom and good day all, this is Tehillim29 back again for manga I have recently read through between March to April 2024. And let's first of all go through the list of manga that I've been reading through in this time. So we've got some One Punch Man, volumes 25 to 27, which has been surprisingly quite interesting as the story advances further. We have Fly Me to the Moon, to which we've got 18 to 22. Again, a really nice rom-com story. Next is Eden Zero by Hiro Mashima, to which we've got volumes 22 to 27. A series that I've finally been able to make a bit of a start on, and that is Banana Fish, volumes 1 to 5. And yes, I have learned what Banana Fish is in the story. I just need to see how the story progresses after volume 5. Then we have Demons of the Shadow Realm, which is done by the same creator who does Full Metal Alchemist. The only way I could sort of bring this across, or sort of like bring these characters across, it's almost as if Edward and Alphonse was brought into a world to which they go up against yokai or monsters. Instead of corrupt politicians. In this case, it's going up against monsters. We do learn of some assassination plots and a couple other things. And last but not least, oh my goodness, I was wrong about this. The main character in Shaman King Flowers, I originally thought was female. I was incorrect. They're male. And you know what? I'm glad I was incorrect on it. So, really nice setup there by the creator of Shaman King, especially in this sequel series. And, so moving into the first lot of manga to rate, and that is the One Punch Man, volumes 25 to 27. In this, we still follow more of the antics of Saitama, but we also get to catch up with characters such as Child Emperor. We end up meeting another person by the name of, I think it's Hostage Kid. Weird name for a character, but you know what? Very clever. So for these 3 volumes, which I ended up reading through, an 8 out of 10. For Fly Me to the Moon, which is a romantic comedy of sorts, as we follow Nasa and Tsukasa, his wife. Also some of the things that happen in relation to him, what's happening at their place. And they're still working, or they're still got a bit of a place at that, I guess that bathing place. To which they still have interactions, they show love to each other, and of course they go through interesting story progressions. We get to learn a little bit more about Tsukasa, and in this we do learn that maybe this character could actually be a little bit older than what she appears in the actual story, but overall it's surprisingly quite good. I love how Nasa finds everything cute about his wife, Tsukasa. And this is like one of those stories where you're following these characters in their sort of like first year of marriage, slowly moving into the second year of marriage. And of course, yes, he's got his job that he's got to work at, and she's got things that she does. But there's also where, in a way, they sort of help each other out really well. And also, the supporting cast is really good too. For this, an 8.5 out of 10. In Zero, oh my goodness. This series got crazy after a certain volume. in this particular series. I'm not going to say when, but we do get to experience a bit of a future Shiki from a different dimension, and one thing with Eden Zero, yes, it does deal with one of the things in relation to time and space. And yes, you're going to get crazy antics involving time and space in the story. For this, I give it an 8 out of 10. Moving into Banana Fish, as we follow sort of like the main character in that series, we get to see some of their past, from things involving Shanghai and China to eventually moving into the US. In a way, as I was reading through Banana Fish, it reminded me a little bit of the old series Miami Vice, because of some of the things that happen in the Miami Vice series, including the decade that the story is set in. And I wouldn't be surprised if the writer themselves were actually somewhat inspired by some of the Western stories, sort of like connecting to, what's the word? Early 80s series that deal with taking down narcotics. It's the only other way to put it. If it's one thing about this story, though, is that you're reading each volume, but you have no chapters in any of the volume. And it's just one long, ongoing story. Thing is, I'm not finished with it yet. I've managed to get up the volume 5. There's another 14 volumes I need to get a hold of. So I want to know how this story ends. So whenever I've got the time, and plus the money, so for this, I'll give it the series a 7.5 out of 10 until I get a hold of more volumes. That is subject to change as I read further volumes. Moving into the Demons of the Shadow Realm, to which it follows the characters of Yuru and Asa, and we learn that they're basically twin brothers, to which they do end up getting split up at one time. We learn that one brother is somewhat assassinated, believed to be dead, until he returns, of course, in the first volume. And then we learn that quite a bit in relation that in this particular world that there are actual sort of like demons, to which you see, or yokai, to which these characters go up against. And of course we've got those who sort of like want to kill off the yokai, one that sort of wants to keep the yokai around because they play a part of the balance of the world. And it's just really interesting. Of these first 4 volumes, I give an 8 out of 10. I'm going to have to find time to read through the box set of Full Metal Alchemist. And last but not least, moving into Shaman King Flowers. And as I mentioned before, I made a mistake thinking one character was one particular gender, and I was wrong. But you know what? I'm glad I was wrong. Or else I would have gone on believing the character was female when in fact they're male. And of course, this story sort of like continues after the events of the main Shaman King manga, and we follow the story of Hana Asakura. And whilst you're reading this story, you're wondering, where is Yo and Hal Asakura? Where are they in this particular story? We do eventually learn where they are. That doesn't come until sort of like one of the later volumes. I can't really give away when. We're also meeting up this character's future wife, of course. But if it's one thing I really want to point out, to which I really think they did well with Shaman King Flowers, Hana Asakura is nothing like Yo Asakura. If anything, he's very brash, he's very outgoing, where Yo was very calm, collected. He's the complete opposite, and is like, okay, this is a good starting point. Oh, we also end up meeting Hana Asakura's cousin, to which I originally believed this cousin here was the son of Taoren. I'm actually incorrect there. He's the son of Taoren, called Taomen. And yes, they look very effeminate, but that's neither here or there. This is called a Johan. I believe this is Johan Asakura, who is basically his cousin, and of course they end up getting into a bit of a fight with each other. So we have cousins having a bit of a family feud of sorts, and as this story continues, it just gets crazier and crazier. You still see the use of oversouls, of course, main shamans, but in this is actually setting things up for those who sort of like serve under the present Shaman King. And I must admit, for this, I give it an 8.5 out of 10. I am looking forward to reading further volumes to this series. Until then, let's keep it colourful and have yourself an awesome day.